Down 28-3 that the Patriots would come back and beat the Falcons that year. It's not wrong. Hello and welcome back to another episode 7 of i75Live. Unfortunately, to start off today's episode, we have the unfortunate news of the passing of one of the biggest legends ever when it comes to movies, cinematic. I think the greatest villain ever in all of that world. Yeah. The passing of the actor who played Darth Vader.
Rest in peace, James Earl Jones. Probably one of the best voice actors in our generation and the past generation. I mean, he's voiced timeless characters. I mean, he was like Darth Vader. He was Mufasa.
He was in The Sandlot.
Yep. He's voiced characters for The Simpsons. It's been all over the place. He made a cameo in Big Bang Theory. So, yeah, he's all over the place. And rest in peace. You know, he lived a great life. I think 93 years.
He did, yes. And, you know, we kind of talked about AI. I think his voice will travel way beyond of what it would have.
If he signed off on anything like that, we'll see his voice.
So, unfortunately, you know, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I know you are.
Yep.
I think my favorite one was the third episode, Revenge of the Sith.
We're in agreement on that.
I think that's has to do with our generation, too, because that's kind of the movies we grew up with, where if you go to ask, like we asked Chris, his favorite was...
he said Empire
Strikes Back, which is what he grew up with.
Probably would be my second favorite. So, I mean, I can't say he's wrong for that.
Yeah, but it is very unfortunate to lose someone who was, you know, he won tons of Emmys, Grammys, all the above.
31 awards. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, I didn't look, but that's got to be up there with, like, the most of, you know, any voice actor.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And like you said, too, 93 years old, and so it's not like he unfortunately passed away really soon. He lived a full life. So.
3 Emmys, a Grammy, 3 Tonys. He did more with his life than probably 95% of the world can say they did.
But other than that, let's get into football. We had our week 1 of real college football. Real college football, week 1 of NFL football. There's some big college teams that lost. God. To start it off with, Notre Dame losing to unranked Northern Illinois at home.
I checked the score at halftime. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I just saw they were down, and I was like, no way that they're going to have, like, they have to come back in the second half. But then...
You paid them $1.4 million to come play you, and this goes to when we first talked about Notre Dame.
How do they get into the playoffs now?
Yes.
How?
I don't, with the schedule that they have, with not playing in a conference or playing on championship weekend, they have now made it where it was extremely easy for them to just coast and get in. Yep. Now they've made it extremely hard to build a resume to go, no, that was a fluke. We deserve to be in.
When they lose games like this, how do you justify putting them in play or over teams that are going to have much tougher schedules, conference schedules, and teams that not even, like, obviously the winners of each conference championship make it in, but the teams that played in the conference championship as well. Mm-hmm. Like, we saw teams, like, in the, like, very recent past, like, Alabama would have a big loss, like a bad loss early in the season, but they would still make it into the SEC championship. More often than not, they would win. And so that bad loss is erased. Yeah. But, you know, everyone's going to remember Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois at home.
And I think I would rather say you take a Tennessee and say you take, you know, another SEC team. They lose to Georgia. They lose to Texas. They lose to Oklahoma. I think I would still rather take that Tennessee team who lost to Georgia, Oklahoma over a Notre Dame team who lost to this team and then kind of just didn't play anyone the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it kind of goes to our point of now they've made it even harder for them to get in.
We may see Notre Dame in a conference, you know.
I think they should. I know you think they should. I know some of our other college football guys think they should. So we'll see. Other college teams, ACC, Syracuse with Kyle McCord
What do you have, like 7 touchdowns?
Something crazy. He's got the most touchdowns in Division I right now. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. There's some clips going around of him, on the sideline talking about Georgia Tech, how, it's a little, he used some language, but I love it. Going from a guy who came from Ohio State, they kind of shipped him out. They didn't like him there.
That's right. Yeah.
Goes to Syracuse, balling out, like I said, most passing touchdowns, and they're undefeated against everyone thought Georgia Tech was really good. They kind of beat the brakes off Georgia Tech. And now it's kind of just them and Miami, I feel like, in the ACC early. Now anything could happen, injuries, whatever. But I like either Miami or both of them to get in if they have a really good season with the 12-team playoff. So
yeah, they really could end up challenging Miami for that ACC title, and obviously would grant them a spot in the college football playoffs. I'd be interested to see the last time Syracuse was in the playoffs or even made like a championship game like that.
Yeah.
But now they hold the tiebreaker over Georgia Tech for that ACC championship spot too. So it really doesn't matter if Georgia Tech, goes on to win the rest of their games. If, Syracuse loses one, they're still going to get in.
And they run the table. You never know. If they end up going and they play Miami really well, lose to them, I think they still get in because they had a really good season, beat Georgia Tech, beat all these teams. So you never know, but I like Syracuse. They're a fun watch. If you haven't watched one of their games yet, I definitely would. Kyle McCord's balling out. He's got some really good receivers to throw the ball to. He's got a 6'8" tight end too. He wears number 19. I can't remember his name, but he had 2 touchdowns against Georgia Tech, and it's like playing basketball going up on a rebound for the touchdown catches I saw from him. So
that is crazy.
So they're playing really good. But let's go into NFL. Dylan was at the Bears game.
I was.
To a game that they probably should have lost, came back. But how was that?
The offense could not have played worse. They really couldn't have. And the fact that we still won that game just makes me so confident for the rest of the year because the offense will not play that bad going forward. They had a lot of, things that could have gone right but barely missed. And just, Tennessee was a very good team. We were saying it before the game even, that defense is defense in general is good, but that defensive line is crazy.
Their secondary was good too.
Yeah. And so air was getting sucked out of the stadium during the first half. It was 17-3. The Bears were getting booed off the field, every time they went 3 and out. And then coming out of the half, still not much. But then that blocked punt happened.
Yeah.
And the stadium erupted. Just, oh my God. That's when the tide shifted. And then after that, the stadium was rocking every possession. And it was, oh my God. The fans were great. I'm so glad that I got to be in that atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I know I was talking to Chris about it before we started recording that I'm glad that I got to go to a game like that where it's,
Instead of like some blowout.
Yeah. Because, obviously that would be fun too. Yeah. But then you're at the end thinking like you're just kind of waiting for the game to end because, you already won. Yeah. But a game like that where, hopes are really, low and you're like, oh my God.
With all the buildup going.
Is this going to be the same old Bears team? And it ends up being the same old Bears team, but for a different reason. We played defense and special teams and the offense just coasted along.
Well, that's what I will say. I say, going, because I know we're going to talk about it later, they're playing the Texans. They're going to need to have more than 95 passing yards.
Absolutely.
Because no matter how good that defense is, the Texans are going to put up points. With C.J. Stroud, we saw that against the Colts, and the Colts have a good defense as well. So you're going to have to take that next step. But I do think it's awesome, though, that they do have a defense to where it can go, hey, we have our rookie quarterback. He definitely showed he was a rookie quarterback, no matter how talented he might be. But to have that defense and the special teams plays, and if you consistently get that, I think it's just gonna help the offense. It's gonna help the team. It's gonna help everything when it comes to a longevity of the season and helping a rookie quarterback figure it out in the NFL.
In a game like that, what I saw, the defense really could end up being the best in the league. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Bears fan. Like I was saying, they were going to be top 5. They really could be the best in the league because they were on the field constantly. Like there was a point in the first half when one of our guys, Velus Jones, fumbled a kickoff and kicked it like 20 yards in front of him and restarted a drive for the Titans right there. And they didn't score. Like they kicked a field goal, but they did not score a touchdown. So you can put your defense in situations like that and they still come out, favorable. By the end of the year, when the offense is clicking,
Yeah.
I really don't think that there's a team that they will not be able to compete with.
And that's the hope. And I think you saw that. So if I was a Bears fan, I'd think the same thing. Now, I will say, though, you've got to kind of, to go up against the Texans next, you've got to kind of figure it out a little bit. Like, it's great, you won, you had all these, but like I kind of said, you can't expect to do that and win against an offense as good as the Texans is. So we will see. And that's why I think that game is definitely one that we have circled. Yeah. I know for you, obviously, but for me, I am very, very excited to see the steps that they do take on top of what we saw.
I think they will. Caleb showed that he is very much still a rookie, more so than I expected. But even then, there were plays that were right there that just got batted down at the line because Tennessee's defensive line is just that good. Like T'Vondre Sweat, I was watching him with Jeffrey Simmons up the middle. They are game wreckers. Game wreckers. And I think we might see it when they play the Jets this week. Like, the Jets have a good O-line.
Against Aaron Rodgers,
oh my God, it was like 2 or 3 seconds, and they were in the backfield every time.
Yeah.
And so, he did not make mistakes to lose the game. I'm talking about Caleb. That was the big part.
Yeah.
And more times than not, like we saw with the other rookies even, Jaden Daniels threw bad interceptions, and then Bo Nix threw some bad interceptions. That led to them losing the game. I won't say that was the reason they lost, but Caleb didn't make anything like that. You know, he actually led a very long drive that got us in field goal range right before we had that pick six that gave us the lead. So he was leading extended drives and making the right decision. And it did not seem like the moment was too big for him, even if, things didn't go the way he wanted. And I love the comments that he made immediately after. No excuses. He just said, I need to be better. I will be better. Yeah. That was like the first thing he said when he was being asked.
Compared to some other quarterbacks like Sanders coming out and completely throwing his O-line under the bus, where it's like, dude, even if it's true, you don't say that in your press conference after. So and I looked at Dad and I was like, if he tries to do that in an NFL locker room,
they're gonna eat him alive.
It will not go over well for him.
No.
So and then to go to your point too of I saw a stat to where this week 1 was the lowest amount of passing touchdowns by quarterbacks 33. Over the past 6 years.
It's been steadily going down every year. That's
so
wild.
In defense, I think defense is constantly getting better, and even some of the penalties and some of the offensive stuff, they are making it, I think, a little bit more, not favored, but more balanced, because offense for a little bit, it was like, what do you want me to do? Like, how do I stop this?
You're saying, I think it was like 2018 when, the stat that you're talking about, they started that in 2018, and it was like over 60 touchdown passes. That's cut in half this year.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And then even too, I saw for, betting purposes, out of the 32 starting quarterbacks, only 3 of them went over their projected, passing lines. So that also says you could point to a lot of things. I think a lot of these guys didn't play in the preseason.
Defenses are a lot better this year.
Defenses are a lot better. So it is very interesting
unless you're the Panthers.
To see those two stats of only 3 quarterbacks went over their projected yards, and it was the least amount of passing touchdowns we've seen in 5 years.
It's crazy.
So
now moving on to other games this week, and we're going to talk about some surprises. The first team that I have listed was the Chargers. I thought they were going to be decent, but they showed a lot. A lot to love about that offense.
You know what I think it has a lot to do with is their head coach.
Jim Harbaugh. Yeah. That man wins everywhere he goes. Doesn't matter where he's at. It just,
He makes people believe. I think he has a really good attitude just about everything. Yeah. And I think he has built a really good quarterback head coach relationship with Herbert. And as you know, that's where it starts.
Yep.
So
I know, the very balanced attack. I wasn't expecting their receiving room to show, as much as they did. They showed like they have a lot to offer. Yeah. And then we saw the rookie that they took, I think 5th.
Yeah, that everyone said that was stupid. And
Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins went up against him for almost 20 snaps, and he didn't allow a single pressure, not one, the whole game. And so that paired with the other tackle that they have, they could be a sneaky team.
And two good running backs, too, to run behind.
I was just about to say, J.K. Dobbins I drafted him in a couple of my leagues. He could be a really, really good fantasy running back this year.
No, I hear you.
Very overlooked.
Now, one of my biggest surprises, maybe we just didn't pay too much and they just got overlooked, but the Buccaneers looked really good.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, I think, arguably you could say he was
Woke up feeling dangerous.
the best looking quarterback out of the weekend, maybe besides Mahomes. But he had the highest passer rating. I think he had 3 or 4 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, a lot of yards, and he was playing he was just playing really, really good. So if you didn't watch that game, he was throwing the ball all over the place, all of his receivers. Yep. Mike Evans had 2 touchdowns, but Tampa Bay looks really, really good.
They look more complete than the Falcons, honestly.
Well, and the Falcons, I know I was high on the Falcons, and we'll talk about them, but the Buccaneers right now, watching week 1, they should win the division.
I was going to say, if Baker and everyone else keeps playing like that,
or
they
even not even to that level, if they can play to that, and that's their best. Now it's week 1, so they'll only get better. But if that is their floor of how they're going to play,
that's a really good.
That's a really good team.
I mean, it makes sense. They made to the divisional round last year, so lost to a very good Lions team as well. That was not a blowout. It was a good game. I remember watching that last year.
Yeah.
But another surprise. I know you're really happy about this.
I'm going to talk about this one. The Patriots.
Yeah.
Dude. We went
Are the Pats back?
Are
we back?
Okay. Let's not say that. But it was really cool to see. I think you can also see that we have bought into our head coach.
Yeah.
I personally still don't think he was the right choice. Mm-hmm. But you could see the players buy into it of him, being that leader, being that I want to play for him. Yeah. But it was really cool to go into Cincinnati when you got Burrow. I know they've got a whole bunch of crap going on right now.
That team, and now you lose to New England and create even more drama.
And now you got to go into Kansas City to where it's like
going to Kansas City 0-1 already on a bad loss.
Yeah, Jamar Chase of the contract stuff. But yes, it was really cool to see my team win. To where I was not expecting that at all. Mm-hmm. I think I saw something where like half of the eliminator things, brackets, they all picked the Bengals to win.
I picked them.
Yeah, so it was cool to see. I'm not gonna say we're back. We play the Seahawks. The Seahawks look very good. Their defense looks good. I will say though, my favorite player that I was very excited for was Christian Gonzalez, and he played very, very good, like he was last year before he got hurt. I think he was on Jamar Chase like 70-80% of snaps, only let 2 catches, like not even 20 yards.
He looks good.
He looks very, very good. So I was happy to see that. Our defense looks good. Peppers was playing with his hair on fire. So it was cool to see my
pass
team
rush too.
Pass rush. The O-line, we didn't allow 1 sack when that was our biggest question on offense right now. I think Polk had the highest win percentage of the rookie receivers.
Wow.
With like 40 some odd percent. He just didn't get the ball a ton, but that's good film to go back and go, hey, he was open. Let's look for him. He's getting open. He's creating separation. So there were a lot of positives that came out of the Bengals game to where this is kind of where I was at going into the season. Let's show some potential. Let's show that we can do this. And that's kind of what we did. And the best part, we're letting Drake May watch.
I was just about to say, I wonder if he'll see the field anytime soon. If Brissett keeps playing like that, he looked good. Like he didn't make any mistakes.
No, and it's perfect. He gets Drake May gets to watch.
Keep this going.
Keep this going for as long as we can. And I hope he doesn't get hurt. If Drake May didn't play the whole season, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. That means, you guys were winning games and you were winning games, because of Brissett
He's
sometimes.
seeing the everyday in and out of film, of all that. So it made me happy. I wouldn't say we're back, but it was nice. It was nice to win a game. So.
No, I mentioned this last week, about Ryan Poles talking about how the players respond to Gerard Mayo. Yeah. It helps. It speaks volumes to have someone who is in a position like that who is a former player.
Yeah.
And even better when he's a player for that team.
Yeah.
And, experienced success with that team. And he can, harp on his experiences with, these younger players that, are still coming into themselves and stuff. But yeah, I think he looks like a leader in that locker room.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I mean, he was a leader on the field when he was playing for you guys.
I agree.
It makes a ton of sense.
I agree. Now, to go into another big surprise, I know a lot of people were very mad about this.
I've got him on 3 of my fantasy
leagues.
The
whole McCaffrey thing smells very... I can't remember who exactly this happened to last year, to where it happened and there was a whole bunch of betting, and all these different prize picks, underdog, they were giving out free money because some team didn't disclose an injury.
Yep.
But to say kind of
I wish I would have hammered Jordan Mason's over on yards.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, that and like supposedly he found out on Friday. And if he found out on Friday, they didn't play till Monday night.
Yeah.
I think they should get.
That's
if
like
that
72
is true,
hours.
If that is true, they should get fined for it.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
well, this is something that, I mean, you don't just find this out about your star running back.
No.
They knew this going into the season, 100%.
Well, he's been questionable. He's been in and out of practice, so it's not. Yeah.
And this is something that could affect McCaffrey all year long. You know, it's a hamstring injury and an Achilles injury, but on top of that, he has tendonitis in his Achilles, which lingers. If you can't fully rest that for at least, a month or even longer, it's going to keep coming back.
Well, it's looking like they might be able to with how their running backs played the
Mason
other night.
looks good.
Yeah, he looked very good.
I'm very glad that I picked him up on my fantasy team because he may catch some starts for me. But God, it's got to feel bad for. This is what the first pick in fantasy is the worst. Every single year, it's the worst. Feels like it's a clear-cut decision, and you make the wrong one like 80% of the time, maybe even more.
Yep.
I remember when I took Jonathan Taylor the year after he was RB1. He finished as like RB28.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So to go into biggest disappointments of week 1, like we kind of talked about the Bengals.
Yeah,
the Bengals should not have lost to the Patriots.
No.
They were at home. You got Burrow, you got Jamar.
That's a rebuilding Patriots roster. Like they are not built to win games.
No.
There was a genuine consensus. Genuine consensus. I can't talk right now.
English is fun.
I know, right? The Patriots were not built to win games. Like they were going to win 4 or 5. And here they are. They're starting off 1-0.
Yeah.
And the Bengals are. People had them, going deep into the playoffs.
I've got them still making the playoffs, but I don't know anymore. Like if Jamar can't, like,
especially in the AFC North, but you can't start off slow in the AFC North.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers are the only team right now.
I think so, which is wild. So the Falcons Steelers, the Falcons really disappointed me.
Really dysfunctional.
They just didn't. They didn't look good. They didn't. Yeah. Kirk Cousins, I think, took 95% of his snaps from shotgun. Yep. No play action. No under the center, which is where he lived for.
He shined in Minnesota.
Doing that, and you have the talent.
Yeah. Like Bijan and Algier, you've got a good
all these
line.
First round picks that you have on that offense to make plays. And you have, I think, 1 touchdown, and you lose to a Steelers team who kicked 6 field goals. To where now it goes to our point, though, of this week, it really showed the quarterbacks who didn't make mistakes won the games. Yeah. Justin Fields didn't do anything crazy. But he won the game.
Played a smart game.
He played a smart game.
Very smart game.
Defense helped him out.
Yeah.
They scored points. They won the game. So, but the Falcons, it was with all the hype and all. Now that their defense, obviously holding them to 6 field goals, I think did their part.
Yeah.
But the offense, it will only get better, and we kind of saw this. New quarterback, it will take a little bit, but their next couple games, they've got the Eagles on Monday night.
It's gonna be a
then
tough
they have
game
the
for
Chiefs
them.
at home.
Philly. And
So they got in Philly and then the Chiefs at home.
Jeez.
So they're probably going to start 0-3 realistically.
And that sucks because not that the NFC South is, ultra competitive, but the Saints looked great.
Yeah.
The Saints defense looks, stacked, and then the Bucs playing how they are.
Yeah.
Like you can't start off slow. And even with the Steelers D-line, like you said, why are you not running play action to take some of that pressure off the pass?
Or why are you not?
You're not even making them think about the run.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're giving T.J. Watt, free reign, him and Highsmith and Cameron Hayward, and just
and that's what he did.
Have fun, rush the quarterback.
He took completely.
He had 3 sacks.
Yeah. No, he was a game wrecker.
Yeah.
He
as he always is.
Yes, I think you can look at that game and go, the Steelers probably won because of one player, and it was T.J. Watt.
Dude. I got a question. If he keeps playing like this every single week, do you think he's in the MVP conversation?
Oh,
and the Steelers win that division? I think it's possible. Really. The last time we saw a defensive player that close to winning was either, you can go J.J. Watt or Aaron Donald.
Yeah. I think if he keeps it up, there's an argument for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll ever
He's getting
give
like
it to
2
a
or 3
defensive
sacks
player, though.
every game. Breaks the sack record again. I know he
Yeah.
tied it, so he technically didn't break it.
It'd be
But if
cool
he
to
breaks
see.
it,
And I like TJ Watt. I like what he
love him.
stands for. I like his demeanor. So I hope he has a really good season. And that's why I have him as the defensive player of the year. But he's a game wrecker. I think he's the best defensive end in football right now.
Yeah.
No questions asked. So, but
same division.
Browns also looked absolutely terrible. Now I know some people were saying that Deshaun Watson played as bad as he did because he lost his dad on Friday and then he lost his best friend on Saturday. So
I don't know how you could, go into that game with a clear mind at all.
Yeah.
So, my thoughts go out to him.
Yes,
That's
I
a
agree.
very tough situation.
I heard that after the game, and I was like, oh man, maybe that had a little bit to do with
Yeah.
it. But judging his playing on the field,
It was bad.
It was bad. It was really bad.
This was supposed to be the year where, everything finally came together for the Browns. Last year, their coach won Coach of the Year because they were winning games. They absolutely shouldn't have. Half their team was on IR. They didn't have their quarterback, and they were still winning. They made it to the divisional round. But then this year, and it really seems like this is the year where everything falls apart almost. Unless they can correct it this week, I don't know.
Yeah,
it was bad.
It was just, and it also kind of goes to the Steelers. I think it's the same meme wheel that we see with not the Steelers, the Cowboys, to where they start off really, really good, and then all of a sudden something happens.
Yeah.
They lose to a team they shouldn't. They make the playoffs. We're gonna win the Super Bowl, and then they lose in the playoffs.
Oh.
So
Restart next year.
But they looked, Dak got his new contract right before the game. CD Lamb looked pretty. They didn't really have to use him too much because they were winning the whole game.
I will say the Browns defense could have been a lot better. Like, they did not do a good job of creating short fields for that offense.
Yeah.
It seemed like every time the Browns had the ball, they were behind midfield and they were having to drive pretty much the whole field, try and score.
Yeah.
And, the Cowboys are no slouches. They've got a good defense, very good defense this year. And, we'll see if they stay healthy. I may have underrated the Cowboys. Just saying.
Yeah, and like I said, it could be that
it
meme
could be the same
wheel
thing.
of the same thing. But the Cowboys looked good, like they kind of always do in the beginning, and we will see. Only time will tell with them.
This next team, I'm pretty sure everyone thought they were going to be bad, but I think they even surprised us with how bad they really are. Like, they could go 0-17 after the performance.
It was so bad.
God, dude.
It was.
Bryce Young does not. I think his first pass was an interception, and then after, just inaccurate.
He had people in his face the whole game.
That too. So I guess I can't put it all on Bryce Young. But
yeah, and the defense didn't look good either. And
now Derek Brown, their best defensive player, is out for the year. Yeah. Gone. I'm pretty sure he had like 100 tackles last year. He was easily their best defensive player. So it just...
Yeah, it's the Panthers.
The Saints.
If you're a Panthers fan, I feel really bad for you.
Yeah, we unfortunately
the Saints looked good though. Now I will say only time will tell with them. I don't know.
Derek Carr.
I don't know if we can judge them and say, oh yeah, they're top 5 team in the league.
I'm pretty sure
the
Chargers are going to look like a top 5 team when they pummel them this week.
Yeah. But I think they looked good. Derek Carr looked good. They've got some good weapons on offense. Kamara's still really good. Olave's still there.
They didn't even have to use Olave.
Yeah, they didn't.
Really.
No, they didn't.
Shahid caught a touchdown, and then it was the Kamara show.
And when you've got your best receiver in a blowout win not do anything, that
good.
Does speak to, your team and how good it can be. So we will see. And, playing the Falcons, playing the Bucs, like we kind of said in that division.
It's going to be very competitive.
We will be able to tell if the Saints are, hey, they're legit contenders playing, and that Panthers game can speak to that. Or they're just going to be the kind of same old Saints team where they have been the past couple of years.
I will say Derek Carr has had some very good years in his past, like very good, top 10 years in his past. And so if he can be that Derek Carr, and the defense is, it seems like every year the Saints just have a good defense, no matter who they have on there. And that secondary, outside of the Bears, I know the Chiefs are going to have a great secondary. They could have one of the best secondaries in the league. Yeah. They had their cornerback, Alontae Taylor, had 3 sacks. And then they drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry last draft. Mm-hmm. They still have Lattimore. Tyrann Mathieu still there. They still got Demario Davis, Cameron Jordan.
Yeah.
I could go on.
They're getting old. And
they are.
They
could be realistically their last year where they're like at least a little bit in their prime, all of them.
But they looked good. So we will see. But let's now bet of the week. I know last week I got Cooper Kupp. He had a $125,
Travis
15
Etienne,
catches.
man.
So I got mine. Dylan's Travis Etienne. He did not
Sad.
produce to the way that we thought he was going to.
Why are you splitting snaps with a 3 down back? He's 3 down back for a reason.
So, but
I will not be
this
betting
week
on him
though.
again.
This week we've got some really good games.
Yeah.
It hasn't been posted yet. And
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Mike Evans, whatever his receiving yards is, I'm smashing the over. He's playing Detroit. We saw what Cooper Kupp did to Detroit last week. 15 catches, 125 yards.
This was without Puka on the field.
Without Puka on the field. So now you're going to have, Chris Godwin is still there. All these other guys that Baker's throwing the ball to. I think Mike Evans is in for another huge game. I'll probably go 8 catches, 100 yards, and maybe a touchdown. That's what I'm. So that is my bet of the week. Mike Evans. It's not posted, so I don't have a number, but more on his receiving yards. I don't care.
I imagine
what
it'll probably
be around
like
60, 70, 73, 72-ish if I had to guess. But Mike Evans over whatever that number is. That's what I'm taking.
My bet of the week, same game, and honestly seems kind of low for the game that he just had. Jameson Williams, who could be a focal point on that Detroit offense. Even if Amon-Ra ends up having a much better game, he's still wide receiver 2. And I know Laporte is there, but Jameson Williams is the deep threat. And his over right now, his line for receiving yards is 45.5.
Yeah.
And he hit that in one catch last week. On Sunday night. He hit that in one catch. And so how do you not take that? That feels like easy money to me. And so take those 2 picks, put it as a 2-man, and let us know. We'll see how it goes.
I'm 1-0 so far, 0-1, but long season we'll figure it out.
Yep.
Let's go. Games of the week though that we are excited.
There's a lot of good matchups
There's a lot of good matchups. My first one, like we kind of just talked about with our bets, Bucs versus Lions.
I think this is the highest point total of the week.
Highest point total of the week, has opportunity to be a shootout. Baker looks really, really good. Yep. Mike Evans is playing. Chris Godwin is playing. I also really like the Lions, though. Jameson played very good. St. Brown didn't play very good, but he's going to get involved in that offense. Yep. Their 2 running backs look as good as they did last year. Their O-line is really, really good, too.
They're a
Lions are a good team. They really are.
Team.
And, some people were knocking them on. They do have a very young secondary, and I know one, I can't remember his name, but he was number 8. He had, I think, 3 or 4 penalties against the Rams. That was I think 2 of them were pass interference, a couple holding and illegal contact down the field.
Is it 8 or 0?
It was one of them. He was a rookie.
Arnold.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Terrion Arnold.
So they're very young back there, but their D line is good with Hutchinson. Their linebackers are also flying around making plays. Mm-hmm. This game could be very fun to watch. And they played them in Tampa last year, and that was a very, very good game.
Amon-Ra had his best game of the year, I think, that week.
Yeah, he did.
So, I really think that's going to be a great game. I think, I know it's the highest point total of the week. I do think a little bit of defense will be played because, I don't know. It just, obviously, Jared Goff in a dome turns into, the second coming of Jesus Christ or Tom Brady himself.
His stats in a dome versus out of a dome
Go
are
ahead
crazy.
And look those up. That Jared Goff, when he's in a dome versus not in a dome. And by the way, the Lions play 15 dome games this year. Yeah. So watch out for the Lions. Yeah. Oh my God. But the next one, my team, Bears at Texans, Sunday Night Football. I have no clue what to expect. I don't know what Bears team I'm going to get.
Their defense is going to show up.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they're going to be able to hold off the Texans long enough and be able to score enough points. I think even if they lose, though, I think it will be a really good gauge and test to be like, okay, this is where we're at. That is a very, very good team, a team that went to the playoffs last year, a team that's going to go to the playoffs this year.
Oh, absolutely.
So now you can kind of set your standards and, your benchmark to go, that's what we need to be. That is what we have to compete with, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I will say we match up with the Texans offense very, very well on defense. Their strengths in receivers is our strength in the secondary. And we have Kevin Byard flies around, so does Brisker as the safeties. Jalen Johnson is the best corner in the NFL and was the highest graded corner last week. Tyreek Stevenson, our second corner, was the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. And our slot corner, Kyler Gordon. And I saw this. The Bears' defensive line were first in in front of every team for pass rush win rate, and it was over 30% higher than the second highest team. I think second highest was like 41. They won, I think, 77%.
Yeah.
So I know the Texans have a good D-line, but C.J. Stroud will not be operating from a clean pocket.
Yeah.
And we'll see, because I will say what you want. C.J. Stroud's a very good quarterback, but I would like to see how he operates when he's under that much pressure, because their receivers, yes, are incredible. They're going to have to work overtime to get open, and they're going to have to do it quick because that pass rush is coming. And so I really do think that's the, what happens in the game. I really think that that'll be what we, see happen. And,
it's going to be a good
Again,
one.
I don't know what offense
Sunday
we're going
Night
to get.
Football, Caleb Williams, two really good teams. At least we're getting a really good game on, and it's not just...
We're wearing our orange jerseys, too. We're
I
going
saw
all
that.
orange.
I saw that. Yeah, that'll be cool. So I think it's going to be a great game.
We got to establish the run game a little earlier this time, because
Yeah.
when I was at the game, it just, yes, we tried running it, but it was like, every once in a while, like one run and then we, pass twice. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like, a very substantial run. It was like, one run up the gut or a little toss off to the side. So really let DeAndre Swift, get going and utilize your tight ends more. That was another thing that I did not see last Sunday. And tight ends is a strength of ours. Cole Kmet is awesome in the red zone. And so if we can get down there, I would love to see a lot more targets to him.
Even if he's just a distraction.
I need to see more layups from Caleb. I need them to see, I need to see him completing some short passes, get in the groove, and then let him cut it loose every once in a while. I know he missed some deep throws last week. It's hard to expect that, he won't have his hiccups this week as well. I do think, he'll still show he's a rookie, but I do think the offense is a lot better this week. It's going to be a really good game.
It's going to be a good game. Another one, like we kind of mentioned with the Bengals at Chiefs.
This could be a blowout from the start because the Chiefs are that good.
And there's a stat going around about Joe Burrow to where he's like 2-9.
He loves playing the Chiefs, though.
He does, and that's what that's why I think it could be very interesting and such a bounce back game. Is he has always played the Chiefs very well, whether he won or whether he lost. He's played them, down to the wire. But the stat that I saw, he's like 2-9 in career week 1 and week 2 games.
Jeez.
So that's terrible. That doesn't,
Can't get much worse than that.
No, you can't. But I think this does, Mahomes, they're playing very good. Like you said, though, it can turn into a blowout with a snap of a finger because of how good that Chiefs team looked.
Oh, the Chiefs have, a complete offense around Mahomes, finally. And they've got all the speed.
Too.
That defense is great.
Yeah.
Their linebackers are awesome. Pass rush is awesome. Secondary lost some guys, but they're still very good.
Yeah.
And I think
Joe Burrow's got to come out though, and he's got to play like Joe Burrow.
It'll be interesting to see if T. Higgins can go this week.
Yeah.
I know he's still questionable and he sat out last week, but especially if Jamar is, because he's still ramping up. He didn't have any type of camp. He was on a snap count last week.
Jamar also plays very good against the Chiefs historically.
That is true.
It could be a very good bounce back week for them, or it could just be like what
the NFL is going to go into a frenzy if the Bengals end up winning that game.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I don't know what to believe.
They just lost to the Patriots, and then they go and beat the Chiefs.
The best
when the
team
Chiefs,
in the league?
Yeah. So that game could be very interesting to watch. Definitely one I'm... Now, another one that we kind of touched on with two teams that just dominatingly won, Saints and the Cowboys.
Yep, this is a really good matchup.
We're going to find out a lot about both these teams just because of the games that they did have week 1. I'm going to say the Cowboys probably. I know we're not really picking these games. I think the Cowboys will win, but the Saints, if they do anything to what they did last week, it will be competitive, and it could have a lot of points as well.
I was going to say, so yes, there could be a lot of points, but again, same with what I was saying with, the Texans and the Bears. Their strengths are going to mash with each other. The Cowboys passing game and the Saints secondary. Those are the two strengths of that team. And so we'll see who comes out on top. It's going to, I'll be looking at CD versus Marshawn Lattimore all game, because Marshawn Lattimore does follow the number 1 receiver. Could be a big Brandon Cooks game, maybe.
Yeah.
But...
And is Ferguson's out too, right?
Is he?
I think he is.
I didn't see that. That's huge.
Not an ACL, nothing crazy, but I think he's going to be out for a couple weeks.
That's massive. And I mean, not that they needed it, but I didn't see too much out of the Cowboys running game. They did enough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
don't think we saw. This is why I think this game's interesting. We really didn't see much of any of these two teams.
Yeah.
They got to a big lead early and were just kind of able
And they
to
just
coast.
played defense. Yeah. So
This game will be fun. Next one though, Colts Packers. Very unfortunate.
Sucks.
Before we go into this, for everyone coming at me for picking the Packers and now how was I supposed to know he was going to get hurt in the first game?
Yeah, that sucks.
It was a preseason prediction.
Yeah.
So everyone's, the Packers don't have, obviously, if I would have known that, they're not there.
It's easy to predict during the season.
So I'm just going to throw that. But yes, Packers, Colts. Jordan Love not playing. It's a very good opportunity for for the Colts to take advantage. And
yes,
the Colts are a good team. They showed that against the Texans.
Almost beat that. They were really close.
Yeah.
And I thought Anthony
Nico
Richardson,
Collins catch on the sidelines was stopped them from maybe getting the ball at the end of the game.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that could. Oh my God!
Hell of
we
a
could be
catch
talking about
to
this
just
much
end the
differently.
game.
Yeah.
And then if he doesn't do that, Colts get the ball. You never know. Maybe they march down the field and go win it on a walk-off touchdown.
I will say Anthony Richardson is damn impressive.
I think his stats were a little inflated.
Yes, but
he had
those throws that he made to inflate those stats.
I agree.
Wow.
I agree. The raw talent is 100% there.
The arm talent. Outside of Josh Allen, I don't know who else has a stronger arm than him.
Yeah.
And yes, you can say he definitely missed some short and intermediate passes, but that deep accuracy is on the money.
I agree.
That first one to Alec Pierce where he slipped in
and
the pocket
he didn't even
go.
step into it. He was kind of flat-footed and just
60 yards.
Yeah.
It was 65 air yards. That is the third most in the stat tracking era.
Yeah.
Third most air yards. It's wild to me that he can just flick it like that. And he did it 2 other times in the game.
And he can run the ball too very well.
Yeah.
So
Jonathan Taylor. So yeah, if the Colts want to compete in the AFC South, they have to win these games because this is a game that they should win.
Yeah.
The Packers.
Well,
don't
it went
have their
from a
QB.
game to where they have, if Jordan Love was playing, there's a good chance that they go 0-2, and then they're even behind. So in a very competitive AFC, because I don't think they're gonna. I mean, they could now that they kind of have some of these games playing against some injured guys. But this is a huge game for them to.
And they get the Bears next week, so you better win this game because the Bears are not going to let you walk over them.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's going to be a good game, too.
Next one, though, Rams at Cardinals. I think this game could be very high scoring.
Every time they play each other, these games are awesome.
The Cardinals scored a ton of points against the Bills.
Yeah.
The Rams played, I think, way better than
that either
everyone
says something
thought.
about the Cardinals or it says something about the Bills' defense. I don't know which more it is.
Yeah,
but.
this is true. But yeah, I think the Rams look very good.
Yeah.
I know Puka being hurt. That's another one.
That
everyone
sucks.
giving me crap again. How did I know he was going to get hurt? How did I
sucks.
know 3 of their starting O-linemen were going to get hurt?
I was going to say the Rams missed during that game, and they almost beat the Lions still. Took them to overtime, and they were missing 6 or 7 starters just on offense.
And Puka was out by the second quarter.
Yep. Darius Williams is a top corner for them. He was out.
Yeah.
They just traded Ernest Jones. So say what you want about the Rams.
Rams are a good team.
They find a way to compete.
Good coaching, good young picks on that D line that kept them in it. Got some big sacks on Jared Goff during that game.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Jared Verse played very well. Their rookie pass rusher.
And like we said from the very beginning, Cooper Kupp, he is a top 3 receiver in this league, and we saw that. A healthy Cooper Kupp is a triple crown like we saw when they won the Super Bowl. And I'm happy that he kind of was able to show the world again of how dominant he can be when he needs to.
I have a feeling he's going to continue his revenge tour this week. I think he's going to continue to remind people hey, you guys must have forgot who exactly I was before I had some injury-riddled
Drafted
seasons.
me in the 3rd and 4th round, yeah. I'll
take that steal. I got him as wide receiver 2 in some of my
I did
leagues.
too.
That's
He's my
ridiculous.
flex in some leagues.
And someone in our league, I wish that I would have taken him because now a guy in our league has Tyreek and Cooper Kupp as his receivers. And I am so sad about that because, God, it's going to be hard to beat him now. But I'm still on that game. I'm still waiting to see Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, he had 1 catch for 4 yards?
And did you see what Kyler said today about it?
I did. I did. So.
He's like, that's not my job to get him the ball. Kind of is.
You're the quarterback.
It's a little bit.
Your number 1 overall draft pick. Really, really good.
Well, and see, we talk about accountability. Who else's fault is it besides you saw? In the Bills game, Marvin Harrison Jr. is
wide
streaking.
open. No one within like 15 yards.
That wins them the game
Yeah.
if he throws that ball and
Yeah.
they stop the Bills the next possession.
Yeah.
That wins them the game. And all of a sudden, that's not your job to get him the ball in that situation. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying. It did not sound good at all when I heard him say
I
that.
definitely think, though, he'll have more than one catch for 4 yards in this game.
I think they have to make it an emphasis for sure.
Yeah, they have to. Well, they got the film on it, so they'll go back and watch it. But yeah, I think he could have a good breakout week for a lot of reasons, and this being a very, like we said, it's always high scoring, so that will be a fun game to watch. I know a game that a lot of people have circled tomorrow, Bills Dolphins.
And this is for a Thursday night game. This is tied for the second highest point total of the week, which is wild for both teams on a short week. And Josh Allen playing the game that he just did, having to do everything.
And I know historically the Bills the past couple years have kind of dominated the Dolphins. I like it kind of said, though, Josh Allen literally had to put that team on his back for him to. I think he had 4 total touchdowns. I think 2 were rushing, and the other 2 were passing.
2 rushing and 2 passing.
He's going to have to put that team on his back.
He's going to have to do it every week.
Every single week. And I don't know how
if he does,
long
he's the MVP of the league.
Yeah.
By far. Like, over Mahomes. I don't know how you can give it to anyone
in the
but
AFC,
him.
The teams that they're playing, if he somehow does that and
He's
stays healthy, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of look at it.
Especially if he ends up winning that division, too.
Oh, yeah.
Being a top seed as well.
I'm picking the Dolphins for this game just because I do think they have a more complete team. And them barely beating the Jags, it's not like the Jags suck. Trevor Lawrence is a very good quarterback.
Yes.
He's got lots of weapons to throw the ball to. He's got 2 really good running backs. We saw that. And their defense is good. So for them, they barely beat the Jags. The Jags are good.
The Jags are a very good team.
Jags are a good team, and you will see that, I think, over the course of the year. But yes, I think I have the Dolphins. They, to me, are a more complete team on offense. I know Mostert just got ruled out. He's not playing.
A-Chain's also he's been limited. Yeah. But again, they just find people. I don't know. Like, they have Jalen Wright, who they drafted from Tennessee, who's also a 4-2 guy.
He played very good in preseason for the reps that he got.
So I don't think we're going to miss much out of that running game, especially if, Jeff Wilson's obviously, he's a good running back when he fills in. Jalen Wright will still be there. And if A-Chain can go, then, yes, he's still a threat. But I think this is the Tyreek Hill game. I think this is the one where we see Tyreek have like 200 receiving yards. Oh my God. That's going to be a celebration every single week.
I would too if I was him. I'd do it every single time. Or some version of it.
Do it different. But no, I think this is probably one of the better Thursday night football matchups that we get all year. Yeah. And we get it in week 2.
It'll be a great game. And even if Josh Allen does have to put the team on his back, it's going to be entertaining. He's going to make some crazy plays where it's like, how the hell did you just do that? And then on the other side, you got Waddle, Hill, all these guys. So yes, this game is going to be very fun to watch, and primetime Thursday night, where Thursday night historically has kind of been
barn burners.
Yeah, just
short week.
Go to bed
the home
by
team
the third quarter.
Wins.
Yeah. This
like
game could
goals.
Be awesome. A lot of points, a lot of cool probably celebrations, and they're division rivals. They hate each other.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's going to be an awesome game to watch. The last game though, Monday night. Falcons and Eagles. I know we kind of touched on it.
Falcons get a chance to rebound, and this is one they need.
They need
said they play the Chiefs next week.
I know. I think they can if they play to their potential, and kind of learn from last week. I can see them because Jordan Love in the Packers were able to put up points, some big plays. Mm-hmm. The Falcons have those players to make big explosive plays. They
Absolutely.
do. So I think it is a good chance. Now it's going to be hard going into Philly because you know how that is. And, Philly, with the whole baseball side of the Phillies and Atlanta Braves, that whole thing it's a huge rivalry. But this has got to be, even if they don't win, they've got to put up some points and build
Show that
something
we can compete with these
to
teams
then play the Chiefs.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And then Saquon gets another chance to make Giants fans even more depressed. That they lost him. God.
First Eagles running back in I don't even know how many years to have 3 touchdowns in his opening debut.
It's wild. And Cousins, not that he had a clean pocket to work with most of the time, but Cousins looked pretty bad last week. And like you said, they didn't use any play action. It was shotgun. And the Eagles' defensive line is probably on the same level as Pittsburgh's.
Yeah. and their secondary is good too. So they're going to have to establish that run in order to get some of those passes, or else it's going to be the same thing with the Steelers. Go get the quarterback, and we're just going to play cover 3, cover 4, prevent, and we'll live with it.
Yep. So one that we don't have listed, but I thought this would be fun to talk about just because, two bottom teams playing each other, but Washington and the Giants. So I think this is probably Jaden Daniels', breakout game. He gets to play the Giants.
Yeah.
I don't know who wins this game. I honestly think it ends in a tie.
A tie. That's funny. I will say Jaden Daniels was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Like we kind of
Very
mentioned.
exciting.
I knew he was going to be fun to watch with the way he runs the ball. And
I will say his head coach, he had 16 rush attempts, and Dan Quinn came out and said, that's not what we want.
Okay.
Let's start looking a little bit, pass first. You've got the weapons around you.
Yeah.
And sometimes he was passing up that open guy just to, find the rushing lane.
Yeah.
So, he said he wants a more balanced attack, and this is a good week to, finally tune those things. Because, yes, the Giants have a good pass rush.
Yeah, the Giants
do not have a good, back half. They do not. Their linebackers, I will give it to them, are good. But the Washington's receivers should have the advantage. Luke McCaffrey, Terry McLaurin. It should be a fun game.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it could be entertaining.
Divisional.
It could also have a bunch of turnovers, which could also lead to being fun with Daniel Jones.
So do you think if Jones, because Washington has a bad secondary, it's bad, and if Daniel Jones struggles against them, do you think he gets benched? Paying him all that money, $40 million a year.
I think it would be maybe not after this week, but I can see if he starts the season 1-6 or 1-7 or 2-7.
It's not looking good.
It's not looking good, and at that point, it's like, okay, well, we know we're gonna move on from him, so just let's put someone else in there. And they have Drew Lock as their backup, so I think worst case scenario, you could throw him there.
He played some good football last year when he had to, and Geno was out. So.
Yeah, so I think if it comes down to it, and that's what their record is, and they can throw someone in there.
As long as they don't wear those jerseys ever again.
Yeah, they were
never.
Whoever made that decision and was like, those are the ones need to get fired.
God,
because it was bad, and the color of the pants, it looked like half of them were wearing
my
pants.
Eyes. Yeah, and then that for the pastier guys, those tan pants are not a good look.
Yeah, it just wasn't, like I said. Whoever signed off on that,
I put them up there with the Packers throwback uniforms, the Steelers bumblebee outfits. I know the Jets have ones that are just.
It was just bad. It didn't help that they played like crap too. So
there are plenty of other throwbacks that you could put out there, and you choose
even
that
the
as
old
one of your releases.
the classic New York Giant logo of the throwback just kind of. There were so many better options, but yeah, it was
Speaking
bad.
of that, I wish do the Patriots still use their throwback with the old Patriots logo?
No, but we should.
God, they should.
We only have the red ones. I think it'd be cool with the big Patriots on the side. It'd be I'd buy that jersey. Mm-hmm. It'd be awesome. So, but yeah, whoever signed off on that, get them out of here.
Last thing we've got our primetime picks.
Yes.
I know you are currently ahead of me after I decided to show too much faith in the Jets.
4-0. Looking to add on more.
All right. Well, who's your Thursday night?
Thursday night
winner.
I have the Dolphins.
Okay.
Thursday night I got the Dolphins. Sunday night I have the Texans. Will be a fun game to watch.
Hurts
though.
My heart. It's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
I'll get over it.
Monday Night Football I have the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All good picks.
So all home teams. I'm taking all the home teams. I didn't really realize that, but that's kind of
So the Thursday night, I've got the Dolphins too for a couple reasons. Dolphins obviously more complete team. Their secondary is very strong. Bills wide receiver core not so much. Jalen Phillips back, very good. Had a good outing last week. Jalen Ramsey great outing last week. Javon Holland, and with the Thursday night games, especially when you got to travel a lot, the away team. The home team, more often than not, will come away with the win.
Yeah.
So I like the Dolphins Thursday night. Sunday night.
There you go, Chris.
There you go. Yeah, I know. Chris was saying, we got to talk about the Dolphins more. Right there. Dolphins. They're going to be good. They're going to win on Thursday, tomorrow. But Sunday night football, Bears at Texans. The Texans played really good. Really good. I think they have such a complete team. The O-line is good. D-line is good. Receivers, secondary, linebackers, Stroud.
Yeah, their teams.
They don't have a weakness.
Yeah.
And so, I'm taking the Bears.
I don't blame you, though. You can't not take them. I do the same thing.
So I need to see, obviously, in order for this to happen, Caleb's got to have a game.
Yeah.
No hiccups, and the defense will keep us in it.
Yeah.
And that's all we need. We need the defense to keep us in it, get stops, timely stops, maybe a turnover or two. That'd be nice. Special teams, if they can play as well as they did last Sunday, it'll be even more interesting. But the storyline of Sunday is Caleb versus Stroud.
Yeah.
How will Caleb do against the person that he was compared to all last offseason as someone who just took the league by storm? So we'll see. I've got the Bears. I really hope that this doesn't end with me being down 2 to you in a punishment, but we'll see. Monday Night Football, I got the Eagles. I think Eagles just, I didn't see enough at all out of the Falcons, especially traveling to Philly to pull out a win, especially if they're going to play like, they did call a game like that. Yeah. No play action, not running the ball. So I don't know. And the Eagles just, God, that D-line is unforgiving. It really is. And so, yeah.
Some great games, though.
Yeah.
3 really good primetime games.
Dolphins, Bears, and Eagles. Those are my picks.
Sweet. Well, let us know your picks, your reasoning. Don't just comment, you guys are stupid. If you're going to comment something, give some reasoning behind. Facts. Give us some for why you believe. Because everyone can have their own opinion. But if you just say, I'm picking this team because it's this team.
Back it up. We respect everyone's opinion.
Yeah, everyone's got their own. The same way we do. We kind of pick on our opinion. You got an opinion on why you're picking that team. So just say it, and we can have a conversation about it.
Sure.
But other than that, don't forget, follow us on social media, TikTok. Bets will be coming out on Twitter of our bet of the week. And we've got some other stuff coming out of some of the other guys that we kind of build stuff with. Instagram. But yes, other than that, thank you so much for watching. That was episode 7. Hopefully, week 2 of NFL football is as fun to watch as week 1, and we will see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. It's been real, guys.